need to end up in jail. We need to rethink the welfare state because, as Sheriff Clark pointed out, what the welfare state has done is to incentivize women into marrying the government and allow men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility.
That's profound, and that's really deep, and in a certain level, everything you're saying is true. Daryl, I've known you for a long time. We're very friendly. You've been on the wrong side of a lot of these issues as far as I'm concerned, especially in Ferguson, especially with Trayvon Martin. And so I ask you, Daryl, when you see this talking about killing white people, I know you. You don't agree with this.
Without question. Sean, let me say, we have to be careful. The person that you saw in the news earlier today, that person does not speak for the community. What we see in Milwaukee, from what I've seen over the last 2 days, is a community that's crying out, we need help in many ways. So I'm hoping that the leaders in Milwaukee...
Stop, Daryl. That's not true. They're crying out, kill the white person. Oh, if he's white, beat his ass.
Sean,
that's what they're crying out. They're not crying out for help. I have the tape, Daryl. We just played it.
That was one person, Sean. There are many other people.
No,
did you hear that city councilman who was talking about the problem that's going on? Well, there are other people who are trying to help.
Involved in actually engaging in this behavior.
Well, I think it's a leadership void. Obviously, there's leadership that's failing. Maybe people like that sheriff needs to go and figure out what's the problem.
You're right. Yes. You're going to say that if Barack Obama, black Americans, under Barack Obama, food stamp participation has gone up 58%. Black Americans out of the labor force, up 20% under Barack Obama. Inner city schools are a disaster.
Don't make it a political issue.
What did Obama do to fix it?
It's a social issue. It's a social issue that needs to be addressed.
What's your take on this?
That needs to be addressed.
James?
Yes, sir.
What's your take on all this?
You know what? I am from the Sherman Park area. I moved into the Sherman Park area because of the strong families that were there. I raised 2 boys and my daughter in that area. I'm listening to all the statistics and I'm listening to all of the excuses, but the reality is that there are very strong families in that area, and they are adversely affected by the politics of the situation.
By the way, you're totally right. The overwhelming 99% of people that live there are, I'm sure, appalled by this and did not participate, but it is happening in their neighborhood, and I'm sure they don't want it there.
Listen, we used to live there. It's the most beautiful. Sherman Park is a beautiful area. It's the most multicultural area of Milwaukee. Raised my kids there. We called it the urban Mayberry. However, you shouldn't walk your dog at night. There are some things you could not do. And when violence like this erupts, like it did 5 years ago when I was there.
That's not Mayberry. Yeah, you can't walk your dog at night. That ain't Mayberry.
I mean, Mayberry in that the neighbors knew each other and they cared for each other and they watched out for each other. Yeah. But you're right in that the dark underbelly of this is that you've had decades of dependency that has created a culture of violence that does not believe in rule of law, that does not have the same values that the rest of the people share, and it erupts from time to time like it did last weekend.
And Democratic policies have failed black Americans. I know Larry is very passionate about this and talked about it for years. Larry, we'll get to you when we get back. And also when we come back, we'll get our panel to react to this, by the way. I'll debate a man who says that the rioting and the looting is a demand for justice, and also tonight.
Anyone who cannot condemn the hatred, oppression, and violence of radical Islam lacks the moral clarity to serve as our president.
Donald Trump laying out his plan to defeat ISIS and radical Islam. He actually said the words, radical Islam. What a refreshing change. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North has reaction later on.